What's good, everybody? Welcome back to episode 17 of the Gifted Hoops podcast. That is right. I'm here with Mr. Facts and Stats. He hosts daily spaces on Twitter talking about basketball, football, all types of things. But we're here today to talk about his team, the Miami Heat, during this offseason. What's good with you, Ed? Before we get to the episode, how you feeling, man?
What's going on, Gifted? Again, it's always an honor to be able to come on and talk with you, especially while you're on this journey of day in and day out grind. So don't think what you're doing on a day-to-day basis is not noticed, especially by me and people around the world as well. So keep doing your thing with the Gifted Hoops podcast. And look, episode 17, it's my second time here, and I'm blessed. I'm feeling well. How are you?
Feeling good, man. I have spent a lot of time just locking in on like the grind of things. People have to understand creating content on any sport is hard enough, but doing that while you work a full-time job on top of there being no NBA right now makes it harder. But I feel like a lot of people want to quit. This is the part of the season where people quit, pack their bags, come back after like preseason starts. But for me, I'm saying this is my preseason. I'm going to accelerate as we keep on going into the next season. And big shout out to Ev because he's doing the same thing with Fact and Stats again, still hosting consistent spaces on that front. So much respect. But you know why we're here, big dog? You know why we're here, man? We're here to talk about the Miami Heat. Now, obviously, there's a name that's been attached to your team for a long time. But before we get into that, I want to ask you again, as a callback to one of our recent episodes, your expectations for the 2023 Miami Heat before any basketball was played. Where were you at with your team?
Yeah, it's a blessing to be able to come on and talk about my team again. But going into the season, I wouldn't say that what we did last playoffs was a fluke. I actually think that we matched up with Boston very, very, very well. So when we went 7, I honestly was not surprised. I did obviously hope that we won that game, but I did think that we was going to carry some of that momentum going into this next regular season. So we were the first team. We went 51-31 that year, number 1 seed in Eastern Conference, I believe. And then this season happened, and coming to this year, I thought we were going to win 50 games again. I thought we were going to be a top 4 seed. I thought it was going to be Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, and Miami. Unfortunately, we fell all the way to the play-in. We had to play the Hawks. We lost to the Hawks first game, beat the Bulls second game. But coming to the season, I had to win 50 games, though.
Yeah, for me, it was hard because, again, like every year, each team gets better. I looked at it like, okay, where has Miami improved? A lot of people dragged PJ Tucker saying like, oh, PJ Tucker made the team so great. It wasn't necessarily that. It was more so losing him, but not getting a piece to like fill in that spot in the front court with Bam. And I kind of feel like for the entire season, like you saw almost more than any other Heat season, for me at least, seeing the impact of Bam when he goes to the bench and not having a valuable player in the front court be able to make up for that. Because Bam, to me, probably had like his best year as a pro. Excellent playoff run. His offense got better, but his defense, like the impact, like early on, I think in like the first maybe 10 games, right? There was a game y'all played. Y'all played the Kings. As soon as Bam hit the bench, they went on like a 20-0 run, super high up in the game. What were your takeaways with Bam Adebayo this season?
Obviously, I'm a big Tyler Hero guy. Him and Bam are my 2 favorite players on the team, without a doubt. I appreciate Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler, and I'm always thankful for what he brought to my team over the last 4 years. I'll put it like that. But when it comes to my favorite players on the team, it starts with Hero and Bam. And that's because of a Kentucky thing. They went to Kentucky. So let's get that clear. Bam,
Mr. Kentucky.
This guy, it's Mr. Kentucky. Bam is a guy that I've been wanting to start since like his first year in the league. And all credit to Hassan Whiteside. He was at the time, he was a okay player for us, especially defensively. But Bam, he came in with that motor off the bench during those young days. And he was waiting for the opportunity to start. Like you said, this was the best year I ever seen him play on both sides of the ball. He still haven't won Defensive Player of the Year yet. I thought he would have won it when Marcus Smart won it last year, but he obviously didn't play enough games and he got hurt. So that pretty much dropped him out of that. This year, Jaren won it, well deserved, and I'm looking at Bam to be in the running for that, along with Eric Spo being in the running for the head coach of the year. So keep that in mind. Those are my 2 early shout-outs. As far as Bam, it was a couple things I wanted him to do when it comes to upping his game offensively. I'm going to take it back about 4 years, or 3 years maybe, I'll say. Before we signed, we had Goran Dragic already. When Bam Adebayo first came into the play, and before we added Jimmy Butler, that's who it is. Bam was averaging about 4 or 5 assists per game. he was showing that he can facilitate and pass the ball as a big man. When he grabs the rebound, he doesn't look for a guard. He looks to initiate and get things going himself. So that's my favorite thing about Bam. This year, he took it to another level. Now, credit, his assist numbers have dropped over the past couple of years because he didn't feel the need to have to do so, playing with Jimmy and Hero. And then we also added Kyle Lowry, who was supposed to be another playmaker for us, or as far as the floor general. Bam, now offensively, I can say has a go-to move. He likes to do a little post shimmy and fade. He likes to use his quick first step that he has. Also, when it comes to getting by guys, and he also upped his shooting range as well to the mid-range area. It's not too extended. It's not in the 18 to 20 foot range, but it's far enough where I can take 12 to 15. I say, okay, Bam can knock that down. Obviously, another extension would be the three-point line for me. He feels like he can shoot them. I feel like he can probably shoot them, but it's not, the confidence level is not there yet. For I'm going to pull this, or I'm going to shoot 3 threes in a game. I'm going to shoot 2 threes in a game. I'm going to take this top of the key three, because Bam always has open top of the key three. Nobody guards him out there. He's not going to shoot it.
Always, yeah.
So the fact that he upped his game again, the passing, he's already one of the best passing big men in the league. If you watch people follow basketball, you know that. It just comes down to the mid-range game, how he finishes around the rim. That's another thing that he needs to up, his touch. And then defensively, he's one of, if not the best defender in the league to me. So this was by far one of the most entertaining, fun, and impactful seasons of Bam Adebayo, because we went to 2 different stretches this year. When Bam came out, we had to watch Dwayne Dedmon.
So bad.
When Bam came out, we had to watch Cody Zeller. So you clear as day see the impact that Bam had on a game-to-game basis. It doesn't matter how well Jimmy is playing. It doesn't matter how well Kyle or Gabe is playing. It doesn't matter how great Max Strus or Duncan could be shooting, or how well Tyler Hero could be playing. When Bam Adebayo comes off that court, the Miami Heat are not the Miami Heat. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, man. Like, there were so many games where like Bam was so instrumental in you guys even having a chance. Like, he would leave the floor and guards would just get to the rim from anybody, because again, like what Miami does as a defense, Bam is so instrumental because he's extremely switchable. He plays out more on the perimeter, and he's helping cover up for guards in the zone a lot more.
Yeah.
When he's not on the floor, that falls apart tremendously. Dedmon is giving up 3 after 3 after 3, slow-footed, could not rotate to save his life or my child's life. That's how bad it was at a point, right? But with Bam specifically this season, what I think he needs to do more of still is be aggressive.
Yeah.
Now listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. In the first round, it looked ugly in spots offensively sometimes, but the effort to put pressure on the defense, get to the free throw line more, Bam, like that aggression made the team a lot better, because even though his technical assists might not be there as much, if you're watching him play, the way that he's been in the court when he's getting downhill, when he's attacking the short roll, attacking off of the handoffs, is bending the floor easier, so a guy like Max Strus or Gabe can get quality looks using Bam screens, right? Like, it opens up a lot more, because now it's like, oh crap, Bam is super athletic, he can get to the paint, we have to game plan for that, right? And I gotta say this too, what a lot of people underrate is Bam Adebayo, outside of Tyler Hero, doesn't have that true guard that has the deep deadly range, which we're gonna get to that guy pretty soon, right? But having like a superstar creator from the perimeter create for him in the pick and roll, I feel like if you guys had that type of presence with Bam, it would bend the floor tremendously. So for him to take a leap like he did this season, I really expect for him next season to, you know, note that, take that and say, hey, I'm getting older. Jimmy Butler, he is also getting older. I'm gonna eventually become the best player on his team and fully take that leap. Maybe not fully next season, but start to really show those signs, because when Bam is confident and he wants it and he gets to the basket consistently, that Heat team looks totally different.
Yeah, for sure. Everything that you said is spot on. And I noticed you were making some faces when I was speaking about Jimmy. And let me go ahead and dive into that, because you when you look at the Miami Heat, it's hard to see, or you don't really see too often, I say, a successful or a frequent 2-man game between Jimmy and Bam.
No.
When you see a potential pick and roll with Jimmy and Bam, one, you know it's not going to be a pick and pop. Two, you know Jimmy is not coming up the screen and shooting the 3. So that gives you a lot of different options that you can do as far as defensively. One, the on-ball guy that's getting screened can go under. Two, the center can play drop. What else? Three, they can just damn near switch if they want to. So it's like, it all depends on who the defender is in that case, obviously. Say, for example, if it's Dylan Brooks and Jaren Jackson, they'll probably switch that. For a situation for last year. Say if it's Bridges and Nick Claxton, they'll switch that. That's just some examples. So it's just not something that they do quite often, and I think it's only downfall not to Bam, but just the ability or the more things that he's capable of doing on a night-to-night basis, because he doesn't have that lead guard that can pull up and just shoot from 25 to 30 just because, outside of Tyler Hero, like you were saying, who still at that point has some deficiencies. So, everything that you said is spot on, bro. I completely agree. And if we do get that guy that we're both thinking about, it's going to be a tough Bam that we may be seeing, bro. Maybe 23-10 instead of 20-10.
Man, listen, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. We are officially 11 minutes in the podcast. I ain't finna waste no time. Let's get right to it, man. Let's get to these talks, man. So listen, for those of y'all that might not know, Mr. Facts and Stats was in Spaces multiple times.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure, right? Talking about Damian Lillard. That's right. I said the name. We beat it to death for many, many days during this offseason. But objectively, the team Damian Lillard said he wants to go to is not the Boston Celtics, not the Lakers, not the Warriors, not any of the other teams. He said specifically one team and one team only, and that is your Miami Heat. Ev, talk to me about Damian Lillard on the Miami Heat. Talk to me, bro.
It's still bittersweet to me. Listen, it is July 31st. He probably requested a trade just say 3 weeks ago. Yeah. This is still bittersweet to me because, like you were saying, I promise you, everybody that's going to watch this podcast, again, shout out to Facts and Stats. I've been saying this in the Spaces before the season even ended. I know I sounded so delusional. I probably looked so crazy, but I said my focus is Damian Lillard, y'all. After this season, he's going to request a trade. And I said that going into this offseason, and I said it during the offseason. Now, when it finally happened, they were saying, well, y'all not going to have enough. I said, well, guys, all he has to do is come out and say, I want to go to the Miami Heat and the Miami Heat only. And it's going to get done. He did just that. He literally did just that, word for word. But obviously, people thought the Nets. People thought whoever else. But he said, no, I only want to go to Miami. Let's get that done. Let's make it happen. And now the NBA obviously dropped the memo out and on some. Well,
it's, crazy. It's crazy because we've never seen them do that for any other player.
I never seen that happen. But it's a blessing that he wants to come to my team. And it's a blessing that in due time, I should have the opportunity to watch Dame, Jimmy, and Bam. I do think, especially him coming off his career year, and I think back-to-back seasons now it got cut short, where he didn't play too many games. 2 years ago, I think it was a domino, and this year I can't remember what it was. Can't remember what his injury was this year, or they just pretty much sat him out. To be honest,
they sat him down towards the end just because they wanted a higher draft pick.
Right. So that's literally all it was. So I don't really think you look at a Dame and you're like, oh, this guy has wear and tear on his body. Like, no, he's still gonna perform at a high level, coming off averaging 30, 31 points per game in a system that he may enter that can bring his game to new heights. And you look at all these different players that played for the Miami Heat in the last 3-4 years, and look how they either was something, there was nothing, and then came something again, or was nothing and became something. Goran Dragic, he went from his good days in Phoenix, don't get me wrong, good days in Phoenix, came to Miami Heat and performed. He performed. Yep. One of the best point guards that we had in Miami Heat history. He performed. And I know it's not a long line to say that, but when you look at Mario Chalmers and you look at the year of Mike Bibby and Carlos Arroyo and Jason Williams, Norris Cole, Goran Dragic is towards the top of that list. Damian Lillard now, without a doubt, would be the best Heat point guard ever. Franchise history. And the franchise only been around for about, I think it's going on 30 years. Or probably at 30 years. So, more names. Max Strus. That was a nobody to something. Shout out to Max. 4 years, $64 million contract with Cleveland. Let's talk about it. Gabe Vincent. A nobody to something. Let's talk about Gabe. Congrats. 3-year contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers. Gabe Vincent. Duncan Robinson. We kept that in-house. Caleb Martin. Way from the Charlotte Hornets. To one vote away from Eastern Conference MVP. Let's talk about it. Average 19, 20 points per game against the Boston Celtics. These are all examples of guys that we help up their game. Damian Lillard, now credit, he's obviously a star, fringe superstar, however you want to call it, top 10, top 12 player in the league. So it's hard to say, oh, we can help this guy become better. But we can. We can help him become smarter. When you become smarter on the court, you automatically become better on the court. Talking with Eric Spoelstra, talking with Jimmy, talking with Bam, all those things can help evolve his game. He's going to have so many easy looks, a lot of one-on-one opportunities. And if Jimmy's in a Jimmy type of zone, it's harder to defend a team like that. So, man, I think Dame on Miami is literally not only scary for the East, but that's scary for the whole entire league. Because if a trade does happen, I don't see us losing 2 out of these 4 guys, or all 4 of these guys. I'll say that. I don't see us losing Tyler, Caleb, Jovic, and Hami, our first round draft pick. I don't see us losing all of those guys. You know, so even if we keep 2 out of the 4 and just trade 3 to 4 first round draft picks, wish we can get that 2025 uplift from OKC, but they have the restrictions on that right now. If we trade 3 or 4 first round draft picks and 2 of those guys, or maybe even 3 of those guys, or for the 3-14 trade, which I expected to probably be, I still like Josh Richardson. Welcome back to Miami, Josh. Josh is going to help us tremendously on defensive output with Jimmy and Bam as well. If Caleb is still there, a 4-man lineup of Dame, Josh, Jimmy, Caleb, and Bam is going to cause problems defensively and offensively. How are you going to stop the high pick and roll with a lob threat like Bam rolling? How are you going to stop the high pick and roll and double Bam or hard hedge Dame high, and Bam gets the ball in the middle of the floor and Bam has the opportunity to hit a guy on the perimeter, the corner, or go attack himself? Because at that point, it's going to be 4 on 5 basketball. So, I mean, it's 4 on 3. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. 4 on 3 basketball. So, it's Dame to Miami is literally going to put us on a whole nother level. And the fact that we made the finals, and I don't really like to harp on this, but the fact that we made the final 2 out of the last 4 years, and both years we lost, I can probably lean towards saying we needed another offensive firepower or offensive star. 2020, we were outmatched, but we won 2 games. Bam and Dragic were hurt, but we could have used another offensive player. This last following year, Jimmy wasn't as aggressive. Denver cleared a better team, but if we had another offensive player, maybe Hero, I'm not saying it would have changed the series drastically, but maybe even Hero playing in the finals probably would have helped us. Still would have probably been a problem and an advantage for Denver with his defense. But Dame, on the other hand, is a whole nother ball game. So listen, if we get Dame, it's not just scary for the East, it's scary for the whole entire league. And I think everybody knows that.
Okay, Ev. Hey, listen, I like the energy that you came with. Let me give you my perspective on this. So, number one, right? I was talking with a lot of Heat fans. I know a Heat fan personally who, you know, does things and like hears things, right? So here's the thing, right? What people have to understand is people keep saying, what does Miami have? What does Miami have? When Dame comes out and says he only wants to go to the Miami Heat, he is actively limiting the market for players. His agent coming out and saying he's not going to play, all this and all that. It's leverage to get Dame to his destination to where he wants to try to go. Now, people keep bringing up the Nets. I said this as soon as they came up. The Nets are not interested in taking on... they do not want Dame with their current build. They want that flexibility, but Tyler Hero as a young piece is something that could entice them to get in the trade as the third team to help facilitate the deal, right? I said that multiple times. Let's talk about the basketball fit, because this is what I hate, right? So people have this concept that Dame is like this guard who is like a ball hog and like really like, yes, he played in Portland because the way you maximize Portland is you give Damian Lillard the basketball, you let him create a bunch of advantages and you make things work out. Giving Dame a player like Bam, Dame has never had a player in the pick and roll like Bam who can pass, set good screens, rebound, hedge, and then make up for his deficiencies on the defensive end. And what I love people saying so much, which is hilarious to me, Ev, is, oh, well, Dame don't play no defense, right? I agree. But guess what's hilarious about this? Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, especially Max Strus. These were players that were negatives on the defensive end, and Miami ran a zone to make up for that. So you're telling me that, okay, they lose Gabe Vincent, they lose Max Strus, they lose 2 defensive negatives at the guard spot, they get Josh in there, and now you add Dame, who to me, if Dame is on a better team with better defenders, he can be a slight negative on defense, but it's not going to be like some gap between him and Max Strus on defense. I'm just not going to go that far, right?
Yeah.
So from that perspective, you put Dame in a place where now Jimmy and Bam don't get taxed as much to have to self-create, because now they have a self-creator from the perimeter. Jimmy can play his off-ball role because Jimmy in his heart wants to be like the playmaker to like get people involved and play a more all-around game where he doesn't have to like drop 50 points, like all this and all that. He wants to be an all-around player. So by adding Dame on the team, you're taking the pressure off of him in the half court, which unlocks Jimmy Butler in all other aspects of the game. And with Bam, again, having a creator from 35 feet is going to open up so many open mid-range pull-ups, drives to the basket, corner three-point shots. There's going to be a lot of versatility that's added to Miami's offense. And what the Denver Nuggets showed us in the finals, especially last year, is where is the league going? A league that has versatility in personnel or ways that you can play. And Miami showed for the entire playoff run, we can win ugly, we can win pretty. There's different ways we can play, but adding Dame is like, okay, so if Jimmy hits the bench, we're good because we got Dame to stagger the offense. So to me, I love the basketball fit. I do think that it's very reliant on who you lose, because in my opinion, you really got to try to keep Duncan. Duncan is crazy because the entire regular season, he was not playing. The man was a podcaster for like the first part of the season, right? Then he comes back in the playoffs because Tyler gets hurt, plays his role, plays better defense than I thought he would be able to play, is a great passer, has so much gravity with three-point shot that Al Horford is letting him blow by him because Duncan was actually attacking closeouts. He was baking Jalen $300 million Brown off of the dribble to get to the basket. Like, there is some good things for Miami here. The problem, though, to me is it depends on what you give up. Because, again, the spacing around Dame, Jimmy Butler, and Bam, you would be losing those high-quality spacers. But you are plugging Dame in a system with Eric Spoelstra. And in my opinion, the goal of the Miami Heat is to maximize your window with Jimmy Butler and Bam right now, clearly. So if you have to trade Tyler and you lose that spacing, the build is to have these guys and build the best roster around them for the next 2 to 3 seasons.
Yeah,
that would be
for sure. Yeah. That's a fact. Listen, I agree, and I didn't even name Duncan when I named those 4 names. So it's like, I think we'll be in a good situation. I think, however this turns out, we'll be in a good situation. And I think, I'm gonna say this, I think there's 2 names that are waiting to see where this Damian Lillard domino falls or when it falls. And that's Kelly Oubre and Christian Wood. I think those 2 names are waiting and being patient to see if Dame lands in Miami. I think one of those guys will be interested in coming to Miami because they'll have the opportunity to play. Say we have to trade 3 of those guys. Who's our bench? Think about it. If we have to trade Tyler Hero, he's already going to get. To me, he's going to get traded. If we have to trade Tyler Hero, Jovic, Hamed, Duncan, or Caleb Martin, that's 5 names. Yeah. Which I don't want to trade Caleb Martin. I don't even want to trade Jovic either. So a lot of them guys I don't even want to trade, to be honest with you. I love Tyler Hero. Wish he could Miami for life. But if we have to trade 3 of those 5 names and we somehow reel in Kelly or we reel in or Christian Wood, who's not that good defensively, but he's okay. They're going to have the opportunity to play meaningful minutes, meaningful basketball. So versus going to a team on a 1-year deal trying to prove something, but not having an opportunity to really prove it. Eric Gordon, for an example, and I don't want to take out the Miami Heat, but Eric Gordon literally came out and they say it's reported that he turned down more money from Golden State to go to Phoenix. Why? More opportunity, more minutes to be played. Who's the backcourt? Well, you know who the backcourt is, but who's coming off the bench? Who's the backup guard? It's Brandon Goodwin and Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon's going to play 25 to 30 minutes a night in Phoenix. He couldn't probably say the same in Golden State. So that's all I got. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but I do feel like we will be remiss if we don't talk about, even though I do think the trade will happen, what the Heat do if the trade can't happen to start the season. Like, what will your expectations be if they don't get Dame? I gotta ask you that just so we got this on file in case it don't happen, because it could also not happen. Okay, I know Heaven Sent is here saying thank you, Gifted. I'm in between. I'm in between. I just gotta know what you're feeling, because there is people out there saying that if the Miami Heat do not get Dame, then this entire offseason will be a failure.
Okay, man, you reeled that in so perfectly. That was perfect. This will be worse than last offseason. And last offseason was a little bit of a devastation for me because two things. Kevin Durant was never realistic to me. I knew he came out and said I want to the Heat or Suns. That wasn't realistic to me. But Donovan Mitchell, that's a guy. Donovan Mitchell, I've been plotting on him for a little while. I'm trying to line him. I'm trying to get him Miami. Bradley Beal, I'm trying to get him to Miami too. Credit to Bill, you going to Phoenix and have fun. We lost D. Mitch. We let PJ Tucker go, and we didn't replace PJ Tucker while waiting for Donovan Mitchell, and that chip to fall. This will be that offseason 10 times worse. You mean to tell me if we cannot get a guy that wants to come to us, this is worse than losing in the finals? If we do not get Damian Lillard, a star guard who wants to come to Miami, this is probably worse than losing in the finals. Because one, if we get Dame, I can confidently say within the next 2-3 years of him and Jimmy's contract, they're going to make a finals again. But if we lose Dame and don't get Dame, I can't confidently say within the next 2 years, we'll make the finals again as currently constructed.
Right.
And that's a fact. I don't think nobody can disagree with me on that. I don't care how much better Tyler Hero get. I don't care if Bam takes a leap that we think he can take. Also, needing a lead guard as well. I don't think we can make the finals. If we do not add Dame this offseason, going to this year, straight up, I'm saying it right now, I don't think that he make the finals because you gotta look at what we lost. Gabe and Shrew so far, and they're not great players, but they were good players for the Miami Heat. Let's put it at that.
Yeah,
you're going to have another season who's an expiring contract of Kyle Lowry, and to be quite frank, I don't know what to expect out of Kyle Lowry this year. I don't.
No idea.
If he has to come into this year starting for us after shifting to a bench role and looking like a whole new player in the bench role, how is he going to look going back to starting and playing 30 minutes a night, 35 minutes a night? I don't know how he's going to look.
A year older too. Yeah.
A year, exactly. I don't know how he's going to look. Then everything is like depleted now. You can have a depleted bench. Well, no, we don't have a depleted bench because we'll still have our rookie and Jovic, and although I think Jovic is going to be a damn good player. I think Tyler Hero is going to come back even better next year as well. So it'll still be an okay team. We'll obviously be a good team with Jimmy and Bam, but I can't go into the season saying, yeah, we're going to make the finals again. But with Dame, we're going to make the finals again because you got to look at Boston. They added Porzingis. As currently constructed with Porzingis, that'll probably be a better team than us right now. Well, it's probably still match up well, but I gotta see how to utilize Porzingis. Without Dame, they're probably a better team than us right now. Milwaukee, I don't know, whatever. Philly, if they trade hard, they're not gonna be.
I like that. I like that one, bro.
Whatever. I already don't say about Milwaukee, but it's really, I really only focus about Boston. Like my only focus is really Boston. I'm not really worried about Embiid. I'm not worried about Donovan Mitchell and how they just lost the freaking Knicks. The Knicks, they can't beat us either. So the Hawks, the Raptors, all these teams can come back better next year. And the Nets, they can all come back better next year. I just don't see them being able to beat Jimmy and Bam, especially when Jimmy goes into that move. And hopefully Tyler Hero will be healthy. And we'll have a lot of guys that we can play, a lot of different lineups that we can run. But as of right now, yes, if we do not get Dame, offseason is a complete failure. It will hurt more without getting Dame than it did in losing in the finals. I'm being quite honest. That's my feelings. If we do not get Dame, that's worse than losing in the finals to me. Because again, if we get Dame, that finals window, and again, it's not closed, but if we get Dame, it's super highly likely that you win the finals. But without Dame, just Jimmy and Bam as the two best players and no real other offensive star, I'll just say, it's going to be hard to win because you got teams like Denver who has a guy like Jokic who deemed as the best player in the league. You know, you got a team like the Lakers who has a damn good team over there, but they probably can't get past Denver, but we'll see. And then you still got to think in the back of your mind, Stephen Curry. You cannot wipe Curry out your mind until he's out the league. Curry is just too lethal. So you got all those different things. I could have said more teams. Phoenix now, with what they got going on, Bill Booker and KD is going to be a problem. And I ain't even say DeAndre Ayton, but who knows how he's going to play. But that's going to be a problem. Memphis added Marcus Smart. That could be a problem. So it's so many different things.
Yeah,
It's so many different things that I'm not even just speaking from an East perspective. I'm speaking from the league, because once you make it, you gotta look at the other side now. Yeah, we got through the East, but Denver, we did not have enough for them. We needed Damian Lillard for the Denver Nuggets.
Yes.
We probably needed Damian Lillard for the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm being honest, we probably do.
I think you needed Dame badly because of this. Like what people don't pay attention to enough in that series. I understand it was a 5-game series, but a lot of it was when Jokic hit the bench, they can still go on runs and kill you.
They can still play.
Right. And sometimes y'all will have Jimmy Butler or Bam's minutes match Jokic. So when they're on the bench, you don't have another like competent offensive creator on the team. Max Strus is going 0 for 9 in an NBA Finals game, and Denver, they're getting a rebound, they're getting out in transition, and they're scoring right over and over and over. Dame is gonna slow down the pace, make your half-court offense better, and have more outlets for you to get good buckets and good shots in the flow of a game for 4 quarters. That just fits better. That makes that series play out differently. Y'all might not win, we don't know, obviously, but it gives you a fighting chance. And my biggest thing is there's so many people saying, how can the Heat trade away all this depth? Did the Heat have all this depth when they lost to the Hawks by like 30 points in the playing game? No, they were 3 minutes away from going home to the Bulls. If DeMar DeRozan's daughter was in that game, maybe it's a different game. I don't know, right? I don't know. But the point is, I hate how people want to gas it up now. But literally, when the Bucks series started, wasn't nobody talking about Max Strus, Gabe Vincent. They was talking about they going home in 4 or 5. And then as the series progresses on, it's like, oh, this Heat team's actually really good. How do you think that like this team can match that for 82 games plus and in the playoffs losing the players they've already lost? I don't see it. So to me, it's like, fuck it. Like, just go all in, commit with your, players in Jimmy and Bam, and maximize it with Dame. Because yes, things might get a little rough with the contract. He is on like a supermax contract, so it's a lot. Right. I get it. But at the end of the day, those 3 players give you the best chance to compete for a title in the next 4 to 5 years. That's just the fact.
And well said, and on record. So this is on record. And I didn't say this in the beginning. And say hypothetically we don't get Damian, we have to run it back on our 3 best players being Hero, Jimmy, and Bam. This season, I think last year we went 44-38. A lot of injuries took place. Shit was happening. Things were happening throughout the course of the season. We shuffling between point guards, shuffling between who's handling the ball, and big man issues. Bam going to the bench. All those took into place to us being 44-38. And if you look at it, yes, you're probably not too good for our standards to me, but it was okay. And we roll into this season, to answer your question, without Damian Lillard, I'm expecting us to win 50 games straight up. Like, there's no way this team, with another year of everybody that we have and so many different guys that we can roll out, I think we should win 50 games this year. I know I said that last year, and I just broke down everything that happened. I don't know if Thomas Bryant is going to play, but if not, we have Orlando Robinson. Hopefully, he can probably play. He performed well in the summer league.
In the summer league too.
I know it's the summer league, but he was hooping. So it's him or Orlando would be the backup center, and I think we will win 50 games this year.
Yeah.
Without Dame.
Okay, bet it up.
Without Dame, yeah.
Wait, without Dame, 50 games. I get you. Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's an interesting ploy. I might disagree heavily, but I can see the perspective of that. Maybe
the lowest I would go is 48-34. That's the lowest.
48 is the lowest.
48-34. That's the lowest. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think like what gives you so much confidence if it's no Dame. If it's no Dame.
Yeah. Because I don't think this team is bad. I just don't think that this team for sure can. I like Porzingis going to Boston. Like, I just like that. If they utilize him correctly, it's going to be really damn good. So I think that makes them more of threats versus us seeing them with Marcus Smart. If that makes sense. He's more not to worry about than Marcus Smart, offensively and defensively. But credit, I still think that 44-38, and we spoke on in the beginning of this pod Dedmon minutes, Zeller minutes, and I just spoke on how Lowry performed better off the bench. Everything that we spoke on. I still think that, all that being said, without Dame and our 3 best players is Hero, Jimmy, and Bam, and I think next year Jovic is going to play. Caleb Martin, Kevin Love is back. Josh Richardson is back to Miami. Our first round draft pick is going to be good. He's going to be a solid player as well. I think we can win 48 games. I think I'll be firm on 48. Sorry, 50 is a little too broad. Yeah, I'm sorry for 50. I'll take that back. 48 and 34, I'll stand firm on that.
Okay.
But 50 is my
I feel like to reach that high without Dame, you would be looking at players like Jovic to like finally get a real opportunity at playing. Jovic showed some real potential in the league. He just hasn't got a chance to play yet because he's young, but there is a chance that Miami just comes back stronger. But to me, if you're talking about the move to put them firmly in championship contention by getting Damian Lillard, even if your roster is incomplete, we've seen time and time again, people say the Heat don't have the talent. The Heat don't have enough over and over and over and over, but you at least have the talent with Eric Spoelstra. Whereas you might not have the depth, sure. Miami has had to find ways to win. Like in that Bucks game, which I'll never forget, that closeout Bucks game, which everyone said was just, they gonna win that shit, is going 6. And I'm like, I got the Heat. But in that game, literally, you're seeing like the entire Miami Heat team go through foul trouble, call after call after call, players getting hurt out the game, in and out. Like that was a slugfest of a game, and it was ugly. But y'all forced it to go to OT, and you wound up winning that game. Because to me, the way the Heat play is, it's a team structure thing. Like it's not all Jimmy. Obviously, Jimmy in that series got you there with his great playoff performances, but the way the team played in the structure and the system was big. And for Damian Lillard, he has never been on a team with not just talent, but the continuity and structure of the Miami Heat, to where maybe Dame is playing off the ball more. Maybe he's coming off of screens more, because we know the skill set. We just have to see how that fits in with the Heat, which I think can fit. So to me, I would do it. The question is Portland going to try to drag this on for a super long time into the season? Is it a trade deadline move? Because we know it has to be like a multiple team deal. And I'm curious if Portland has the balls to trade Dame somewhere else that's not named Miami. I don't know.
I am curious on that too. I'm not going to lie, my heart would drop. But I am curious to see that as well. And hopefully, I'm hoping, if you ask me, I'm hoping the Damian Lillard deal gets done in August. Tomorrow, obviously, is August 1st, and I'm hoping it gets done in August. I don't want this to drag into training camp. I don't want this to drag into preseason basketball, and obviously, I don't want it to drag into the season kicking off in October. So, mid-October. So, that's my thoughts on it. Hopefully, he gets traded in August, bro, and I can see what direction he's going to go in, because we got to move fast if we don't land Dame, and there's really not too many options out there. So,
it's like very barren right now. It kind of feels like teams are what they are until we see like these bigger trades happen within season. Something I did want to comment on though, like the future of the Eastern Conference is so interesting to me, because in the West, it's like damn near like 10 playoff caliber teams in that, conference. In the East, you see the Pacers, they're getting better. Tyrese got hurt, so fine. They lost short, but that is a talented team, and I do believe in Tyrese's talent. But then as you go through the rest of the conference, I mean, if I talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, if you're quiet real quick, if you listen in really carefully, that's the sound of Mitchell Robinson out rebounding Jared Allen again for another offensive rebound. That team had its problems in the playoffs, but they're going to bounce back and I think be a really potent regular season team. The Pistons have like 9 NBA centers. I don't know what they're doing over there. As a Detroiter, I hope that they figure it out and they don't stifle Jalen Duren, because he's going to be very productive. But in your mind, in the future, I think like the future of the East is really Boston, the Heat, and probably the Sixers in your mind, right? Now, Sixers, I'm not sure. I don't know.
When you say future, how many years are you speaking on?
I'm talking like 3-4 years.
I love the future of the East. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now. And it's mainly only really because of 3 teams. Could be 4, but I'm gonna just say 3. I think the Pacers, and you started off with the Pacers, so I was going to say, I think the Pacers are going to be a damn good team in 2, 3, 4 years. Halliburton, you get to use Bruce for 2 years on his contract that he has. Jarris Walker, great first round draft pick, going to fit right in. Obi Toppin, this is a guy that was drafted in the first round, and he played behind Julius Randle. People may not think he's too talented, but he really is talented. When he gets the opportunity to play this year in Indiana, a lot of people are going to see how well he can perform. Obviously, Benedict Mathurin, we all know there. Nemhard, damn good backup point guard or guard, whatever you want to call him. The Pacers are going to be a real good team in 2-3 years. Halliburton is locked up for the next 5 years with his contract extension as well. Let's twinkle over to the next team, the Detroit Pistons. 2-3 years. These are the teams. If you ask me, that's going to be it's our time now. We're here to come. We're here to stay. They're building young cores, and they have a good lead player. Every single team that I'm about to list: Pacers, Halliburton, good lead player, star potential. Detroit Pistons, I want to circle in on them first. Good lead player, Kate Cunningham, star potential. Jaden Ivey, gonna be a good solid player as well. Jalen Durham,
Thompson twin too.
And I was just about to get to Asar, damn good player, good summer that he had as well. It's gonna be a nice two-way wing in this league. Jalen Durham, like you were just saying, they locked up Isaiah Stu for the next 4 years as well. They have Monty Morris come off the bench this year as a good veteran. He can teach them some things. Out Detroit in 2-3 years, damn good team. Last but not least, Orlando Magic. Paulo, good lead player. Damn good team. Damn good team in 2-3 years. I love the draft pick of Anthony Black in the first round. I like the draft pick of Jet Howard in the first round. You obviously have Wendell Carter, Franz Wagner, obviously. Damn good player. They're going to be a damn good team in 2-3 years. So I think those three teams are the future of the East. But you will still have Boston, and you will still have Miami. And if Giannis is still in Milwaukee, you still have to take an account for the Bucks, because if Giannis is there, there's still going to be a good team.
Now, this is where things get interesting, because you want to know what my hot take is that people are going to yell at me at, which I haven't been in spaces that much to say. If you look at the teams on paper, now I'm going to say this on paper. On paper, the teams that will fall out will be the Bucks and the Sixers on like a 4-year, 5-year scale. And I say that because right with this. Okay, so if you look at the Bucks are relying on Brook Lopez to be defensive player of the year caliber and also be the spacer for Giannis at the 4. Chris Middleton did not look like himself last year. Maybe he pops back into form this year. That's possible. But also, how did Miami exploit the Bucks? Their half-court offense has never been great. It's never been great, even when they were all the way healthy. They don't have many athletic wings to really match up with Butler or other threes who are really good with the ball. So that's a problem. And Drew Holiday is flirting with thoughts of retirement. Again, it could be Cat. We don't know. But I'm just saying, if you look at it on paper, that team seems to be aging around Giannis. And year by year, maybe at a certain point, there is a breaking point. They did sign a brand new head coach. Maybe he's able to enhance their offense, because Bud, even though I do think he had one season where he made some great changes, his playoff resume as a coach, he don't really change much. We got here off this. We're going to die off this. It is what it is, right? But that team is aging. I still think they're going to be good. But then you get to the Sixers are the biggest question mark. They have front office people that are combined as a collective. There's not one true person calling all of the shots. James Harden wants to be traded to the Clippers. We still got to see if Fat Suit James Harden is going to come out. Respect Shaggy. I ain't trying to dish your man, but I'm just saying, it's a chance that Harden is off that team. And then what does that mean for Joel Embiid's future, considering he has not been out of the second round? The only MVP in league history, shouldn't have been an MVP, but the only MVP in league history to not be able to do so, right? So when you look at it, the Heat, you have Jimmy Butler locked up. You have Bam Adebayo locked up. If you trade for Damian Lillard, you'll have Damian Lillard locked up. Boston, they got Jaylen Brown locked up. I'll leave it at that. They got that locked up. And they have continuity, so they're probably going to be good in the next 3 to 4 years, right? So to me, those are the two main teams I'm looking at, because these other teams, literally in a span of 2 years, 2 years in the NBA, you know how much time 2 years is. Kemba went from this productive ass player to out the league in 2 years.
Yeah. I like to push back on the Milwaukee point, but that's literally why I didn't include Philly. In 3-4 years, I cannot see Philly being one of the upper echelon teams in the league. I would lean towards Piston or Orlando before I would lean to Philly being a real good team in 3-4 years. That's just me. I think 3-4 years, Cade and Paulo will be problems, and all the other guys every single guy around them. they'll also develop and get better as well. They have a nice young team that they have over there. So both teams. So even in the end, I want to give them the flowers as well. So that's just my thoughts. I just think Detroit and Orlando is more set up to be better team construction wise than Indiana in 3-4 years. But I do think these 2 years coming up, this year and the next season, Indiana will be better than both of those teams though.
Yeah. I think this upcoming season for Detroit is pivotal though, because I like Cade, like he's a really good all-around player, but at a certain point the injuries are plaguing him from being able to develop, make mistakes as a player, and then have entire off seasons to build off of a regular season sample size. So you want to see them like take more steps. Obviously the coaching of Monty and the structure in the system that he'll be able to implement is going to be great for that young team. I believe in Jalen Duren and Asar as defensive pieces, but as you see all across the league is moving towards versatility. The Magic are trying to combine size and skill at every position. The center can pass. The 4, he can ball handle. They can all do things beyond score in the game of basketball. And for the Heat, at least, this has always been a team that's been predicated on everyone plays their role. You clock in, you have to understand how to cut, how to be impactful, how to impact the game, even if you're not scoring any basket. And the culture that's been established for your players is a big part of that. I think Dame fits that culture. I think that Dame also has the talent to take it over the top with those players. So to me, again, that's a no-brainer. But here's what I want to ask you next. Boston is an interesting team. And I'm not dissing Boston, right? Because I think Porzingis, I agree with you, right? If Boston utilizes Porzingis in the right way to where he's not just this 7-foot lamp in the corner who catches the ball and shoots it. If he's actually used as a handoff guy, a guy who's in the pick and roll to pop or dunk, at times, great. But what people aren't talking about enough is the playmaking, because Marcus Smart was like another ball handler guy who could play make, really table sit for a whole lot of people. And then on top of that, he was another guy that they could put on you to guard up and guard down in their defensive scheme. When you lose that, guess who you're relying on the playmaking to come from more than ever? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I think Tatum can get better at that for sure. But I think when you're paying Jaylen Brown the money that you are paying him, the question then comes in, how good is Boston as a roster going to be in the next 3 to 4 years when you have them in talks with the Bucks, the Pacers, the Celtics, like all of these younger teams in the future? Like, where do you think Boston can be in comparison to the Heat over these next 3 years?
Great question. No, that's a great question, and perfectly worded. As far as roster construction, I can't answer that, because when and if we do get Damian Lillard, we're probably going to be in the same boat, because he's on that Supermax contract. Jimmy contract is a damn big contract as well. Yep. And then Bam is getting paid what he's getting paid, nothing outrageous. But on the other hand, they're going to have 2 Supermax guys. Tatum is going to get his next offseason, and then Porzingis is locked up for the next 3 years. I believe they signed him on an extension. But you said it perfectly. I don't know what they're going to put around those 3. I'll just say 2, because I don't know if Porzingis will be there after the 3rd year or 3 years, but I'm going to say he's going to be there for now. I don't know what they're going to have the ability to put around those guys, because 2025 is when a lot of things come off the books. I think Derek White come off. I think Brogdon come off. I think Rob come off in 5 or 6. Al Horford come off in 25 for sure. And Rob Williams is either 5 or 26. Either one of them. So a lot of people are going to come off those books, and then you're not going to have the money to go give out a $20 million contract. I think Brogdon is getting paid right now. You're not going to have the money to go give out a $25 million contract. So the flexibility is pretty much not flexible anymore. Right. You're going to be looking at and again, it's all going to lean toward Tatum and Brown and how they can up their game in the ways that the team may need, to where they're not as big of a needs anymore. To put it like that. If Tatum and Brown both become, and I don't think Brown can, but if Tatum and Brown both become high-level playmakers, or guys that you can run your team offense through when you need to for a whole quarter or even a half, like Tatum displayed in the playoffs last year against us with the high pick and rolls for like the whole damn quarter when we was in 2-3, and he was killing it. If they can do that, that helps limit your needs elsewhere. Now, Derek White, he's going to be a starting point guard this year for them. I do think that's okay. And I'd have to see how he performs in that role. But something that can help them is if they give Brogdon an opportunity to actually be a point guard and not a spot up shooter.
Is he gonna be healthy though? Like
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah. So I was speaking to her this year. Keep on the 3-4 year track. Yeah, that's a good question, man. If you still have Tatum Brown in 3-4 years, they're probably most likely still gonna be a good team.
Yeah.
It was going to for sure at that point be a top 5 player in the league. So
I just feel like with your team, Ev, like the biggest thing that I'm noticing, right, is we're talking right now, right, about the landscape of like the league, the East, and all that stuff. But to me, it's imperative that Miami gets it done now, because look at where the East is. The East is in a state currently right now of disarray. And to me, it's like a transitional period of other teams scraping to get better season by season. Like Boston, right? Them paying Jaylen Brown was their commitment to winning now. We're keeping Jaylen Brown now. We have Porzingis. We have White. We still have most of the same pieces from last year. Let's win in these next 2 years. Let's get it going, right? Getting Dame now to counter that is your best chance of potentially, I would say, winning. Because after this, if you don't, Jimmy is getting older. Bam Adebayo, he's getting older. Dame Lillard will also get older. So trading for Dame a season from now, when the entire
Bam is okay though. Bam look like Bam is okay though. Bam look like 26. Yeah, Bam is 26. So
no. Bam is fine. He'll be fine. I'm just saying that like your roster as a whole is aging. Your best player is still Jimmy Butler. He's also aging. And to me, it's like you have to maximize it now before they sustain injuries that can maybe make things harder in the next 2-3. Because remember, we're just like thinking about these teams on paper, but injuries can severely change everything with this too.
Yep, well said. They could definitely change the landscape. So yeah, well said. And again, that's why if we don't land Dame, that's why it's worse than the finals. Losing in the finals. Worse than losing the finals to me for sure. That's how I feel about it.
All right. Well, and listen, I gotta say, this was a great pod. I love the energy Ev was standing on 10 for this entire podcast. Big shouts out to that man. We were able to cover the bulk of the Heat season with Dame and all that stuff. So make sure to tap in. I want to give Ev the floor to promote facts and stats and some other things that he has going on as an individual creator. All of his links will be in the comments in the description. So tap in for that. But Ev, feel free to introduce yourself one more time.
Yes, sir. Ed Everett Jr. on Twitter, or you can just follow the Facts and Stats page. That's at Facts and Stats. I am a content creator. I run a podcast by myself. I make my own Facts and Stats apparel by myself. So make sure I check that out. All my links will be on my bio on my Facts and Stats page. And I actually have a podcast as well with episodes. I dropped an episode last week. Drop an episode tomorrow morning. So subscribe to Facts and Stats on YouTube as well, and Gifted, thank you. This was literally a fantastic episode, and I appreciate the opportunity as always to come on and talk with you, bro.
Yes, sir, man. I'm excited about this offseason because for me, I'm taking the time to like go through each team, how good they can be. I'm watching more film about how players fit. And the funny part is like the NBA never sleeps. So quite literally next week could be like Harden gets traded to block, right? Like it's a lurking giant all the time. So for me, like I want to use these podcast episodes as a way for me to get reps and also like really just think about, basketball, because each time in these off seasons, the league is changing significantly. So these off seasons are our way to basically reflect on things and as we transition to the new age. So I appreciate you, Ev, so much. Appreciate everyone that has made it this far into the episode. And shout out to all the support that I've been getting. I just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're on our way for that big boy 2,000. Nothing but the grind, as y'all may know. Tap into the Gifted Hoops podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a YouTube video version where you can see Ev's face and see his reaction when I said Jaylen Brown was going to make $300 million. All right. Peace out, people. I'll catch you guys in the next episode of Gifted Hoops. Peace.